Listen, today we're jumping right into our show because behind the doors to the right, we have the legendary Whoopi Goldberg! Now listen, before Whoopi comes out, her latest project centers around one of the most infamous crimes in American history, the unimaginable murder of a 14-year-old boy accused of flirting with a white woman. Yes, we are talking about Emmett Till. The movie Till took Whoopi years to get made. And if you know anything about Whoopi Goldberg, she does not take no for an answer. And the film is about Emmett Till's mother, Mamie Till-Mobley's pursuit of justice, even as the woman who accused her child has yet to face what many call justice.
It's hard to describe what a mother knows. The first thing I noticed when I became a mother was that my hands were busy all the time. My hand knew him with my eyes closed, just like I know his laughter in a crowded room. It's the same thing when you know all of someone. This was my boy, Emmett Till.
The body of Emmett Lewis Till has been found dead.
Can I at least just fix him up a bit?
No, they have to see it for themselves.
You tell me, Mamie, how is risking your life gonna help them?
Those pictures of your son change people's lives.
I can't look, baby. We have to.
Please welcome the Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony-winning actress, producer, and television host, the Whoopi Goldberg.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, does the roar ever get old? It's like you say Whoopi Goldberg and people roar when you walk out.
Sometimes they will.
They always do if they know what's right.
Sometimes they're like, oh.
Never that. Listen, I got to launch into this because there's so much to unpack. The fact that it took you years to get this
Yeah.
made. 11
Yeah, actually, this movie took Keith Beauchamp, who is really the catalyst for all of this, who was a mentee of Mamie's. He always
I work
said
with
he
Keith
would,
on crime shows.
He's the
Right,
best. He's the best. And he tried to get this for at least 22 years, get it done. He wrote the script. And Barbara Broccoli and Fred Zola, who I've also worked with. Barbara does all of the Bond movies. And Fred did Mississippi Burning and Ghost of Mississippi. Called me and said, listen, we wanna get this done. You wanna be part of it? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so we tried. And we tried and tried and tried. And
What were the roadblocks?
Well, first, people said, well, do we have to see this again? And a lot of the answer is, you've never seen it at all. What are you talking about? There's never been a movie about Emmett Till. This is 67 years, And then it was like, well, people don't, this is not entertainment. It's like, well, sometimes movies have to give you a little more than just a smile. This movie gives you lots of smiles, by the way.
Because it reflects on the love of mother and son.
Yes, and
what was her motive? That's what motivated her to fight for justice.
And also, what you have here is no longer just a picture in a magazine. It's not words in a book. It's watching a mother and her son that every mother in this room will recognize. Every father will understand what that feeling is. And so what we have is a living, breathing story of a woman, an ordinary woman and an ordinary boy, who found themselves in extraordinary circumstances. And I don't know any mother who would not fight like she did. And when you're talking about institutional racism, it makes it harder, you know, because most of y'all weren't alive when this was happening. But this was how Black people were treated. We had no identity. People didn't care. They'd come in and take your kids, come in and shoot you if they felt like, I mean, crazy stuff.
But you did
You know.
something, Whoopi, you said extraordinary, and they are. And you were born in 55, I was born in 70. You're in New York, I'm in the South. I grew up, to your point. Every time we'd go to the beauty shop, there was that magazine cover.
Yeah.
It was always a part of our life. And I remember even being a kid, even though it happened well before I was born, being afraid.
Yes.
And hearing about sunset laws, parts of the South where Black people, you were told, don't let the sun set.
Parts of
with
New
you still in
Jersey,
it.
parts of New York. I mean, it's all over the country. It's, you know, we like to think was only in the South. No, this was happening everywhere, you know, and we talk about it now in a way so everybody will recognize that this affects us all. Right. This kind of institutional racism grows insidious and grows out this way. And we saw people start to realize when George Floyd was killed. We talk about Trayvon Martin, Eric Gardner, this kind of insidious racism that we don't see as blatant, but it is there.
It is there. It is there.
We all have to pay attention to this because after us comes you, and after you comes somebody else, and after somebody else comes the next people, and then nobody's left. So we have to get this together, and that's why there is no violence to Black bodies. But you know it's happening. You don't see it. That's why I say you can bring an 11-year-old because they need to know the history. Because as we live in this country, we're watching people erase just history, American history.
We did a show
You know?
on books that were being banned around
Absolutely,
the country.
yeah.
But to take back to the film itself, to your point, so often when you bring up Emmett Till, for example, people think this is a Black story. And I was very deliberate in the language introducing this because it is one of the greatest crimes against a child.
Yes.
A child.
Yes.
And people.
And humanity.
In humanity.
Yes.
But a 14-year-old child. Everyone should be sick to know that this family, to this day, have not received the justice that they deserve. And you talk about Keith Beauchamp, he uncovered just recently a warrant that was supposed to be served to Carolyn Bryant, the woman who accused Emmett Till. She is now in her 80s. She is still alive. And then this summer, they received the devastating news that there was still, quote, insufficient evidence.
Personally, I don't need her to be in a jail cell. I need her to be in a courtroom because I need a lawyer to say to her, do you see what you've wrought? And I need her to either say, yes, I do see it, and I'm devastated that I had a hand in this, or I need her to say, no, I still don't understand what the big deal is. I need her to clear this up for me.